Alright, what's going on, everybody? Hope y'all all having a good day today. Today's Saturday. It's kind of early, oof. But trying to get a head start on some stuff. I got a 700 Raptor Special Edition, 700R Raptor, excuse me, Special Edition Yamaha bike. A friend of mine has, and he was complaining about the front brakes quit working. Excuse me. The brake fluid completely gone out the reservoir, and I did a diagnosis on it, and I would actually had this video out a while back, but due to that he went to order the right part, but the dealer ordered the wrong part, so a lot of issue with that. So we had, instead of just changing out the bad part on the front brakes, he lined the bad brake line. We ended up replacing the whole brake line system just about, because they wanted to charge him $20 for a restocking fee for a $44 part for their screw up. Not going to name the company, but it's pretty sad that they would do that. So, but anyways, the issue was that he couldn't tell if there was a leak or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through. Last night, it was late, I already did the brake lines, 2 of them, due to their pain in the butt. But I'm going to walk you through, tell you how I found out the problem, how to bleed your brakes, and how I changed out the lines. And it's actually pretty simple. It's just a really tight squeeze, and maybe this follows under just about any four-wheeler on your front brake system and stuff, on how to bleed them and stuff. So on any brakes and stuff, as long as your brake pads and your calipers and everything are good, if you have a leak coming from your brakes, if your brakes are not working that good, if you're losing the brake fluid at the reservoir here and stuff, that means you have a hole, a fitting somewhere that's leaking or something, and that be your first start. You can trace it all day long, but if it ain't finding fluid only after you ride a little bit, that means you need the pressure. And the only way to get the pressure through the brake line is to pump your brake handle. This one here, I haven't bled, haven't done nothing yet. I started just putting the brake lines, new ones on, and took the old ones off. So I'll take y'all with me, show y'all what I did. Alright, excuse me, my garage is a freaking mess from working on everybody's stuff and everything and fishing, but this here is the brake line that they ordered, but it was not the right part. But due to that, it would have cost half the price to get half his money back. He was like, you know what, throw it on. We got it. So this is the good part, but I went ahead and changed it out. The bad part was underneath here where this fitting is. It's just like the same kind of brake line that goes on the rear end of a truck or whatever. It goes from here, runs straight down, and it connects right here. So this metal line right here. The actual leak was on the bottom end of this fitting. So what I did is very simple. Sorry, I got sinuses or whatever today. But it's very simple. I took this plastic piece off right here, which is sitting right there. It's just a little fancy little guard. Took the key. It goes right here. Unscrewed the top piece. And I should have it sitting somewhere right here. It's just a little plastic nut. sits on there. Unscrew it. Sometimes you gotta use like a big pair of pliers just to get it loose if there's a lot of dirt or something in there. No big deal. Once you take that out, there's a bolt right here. It's a 10 millimeter that comes out. Then underneath the fender here, I don't know if you can see it, but there was a 10 millimeter here, and then which was just a bolt there, but this is a nut and bolt on the fender. So you take that out, and the same exact thing on the other side. Come over here, 2 plastic clips, take your fuel cap off, slide all this off, slide that off. And the only aggravating part about this whole ordeal is after you do all this, unless you want to take a whole bunch more parts, bolts and stuff off, take the whole plastic off, which I didn't. What I did was I took that metal pole right there, I stuck it underneath here, and I just held it up at an angle. And if you look right there, you can see the brake line sitting in there. So right in there, it's a 10 millimeter, and all you do, loosen it. And once you get that loose, I took the bottom loose, pulled it out. But to make it easier for you, if you're changing this out with that brake line, or if you just happen to change this out for some reason, you might have caught it on something, ripped it, whatever the case may be, you got to take that metal brake line loose anyways. When you do, I advise what I did, because I didn't hook this back up first. What I did is I took the metal line, I shimmied it through, come out through this hole where this brake line's sitting. I let it rest right there. I bolted this back in so everything's not because if you bolt that line back up, this might not be set right, and then now you're forcing it to thread in at an angle, which can cause to cross thread and stuff, or just aggravation of binding. Once I did that, then I screwed in these 2 parts right here, this brake line. Then I set it down. There's a clip in here, just a little metal clip. It just pops in and out. I use a little flathead screwdriver to get it. Once that all looks good, I go down to the bottom, and then what I do right here, then I bolt that back in, screw that back in, and call it done. Now, due to when you change all this out, it's all empty now. There ain't no brake fluid in it. There ain't no nothing. Now you can unscrew that. Before you screw that in, you can fill this reservoir up. You take 2 screws out right here. You look at that hourglass. This is full right now because I topped it off last night. And you can sit there and you can pump it, and sometimes I just keep my finger. When you squeeze in, it's pushing fluid out. And then when I release, you can just take your finger and hold it over so it won't suck air in. Excuse me. And you can keep doing that till the fluid comes out. Starts to come out, then you screw it down, and then you can proceed to bleed each wheel. And in order to bleed these, it's pretty easy. It's a 8 millimeter. There's your bleeder screw right here. When you squeeze in that handle a couple times, pump it. What you do is you hold it, and as you're holding that brake, you open this. Before you release that handle, you shut the bleeder screw on both sides. Because if you don't, what happens is if you pump it like this, and you got that bleeder screw and you let go, as soon as you let go, it's going to suck the air back into that bleeder screw, and you're defeating the whole purpose. Now you're fighting your whole self to try to get that, to get the fluid to come through. Instead, you're sucking the air in and out. You're just basically not moving nowhere, you're not gaining, and you're not losing much. You're just sitting idle on the whole ordeal. But quick notice, if y'all enjoy these videos on how to do things like this, boats, four-wheelers, even if you want stuff done on cars and stuff, let me know. I know I have a request from a subscriber for how I did the removing these side panels. And yes, it's a pain a little bit, but it's not that bad. The worst part is actually getting the panels unclipped, getting to them, and all that stuff is pretty easy. So I plan on doing a video of that next when I get a chance. So just be patient with me. I'm just really busy with family stuff and everything that's going on. But yeah, and I also removed this because now I can move the radiator. I mean, you can't move it much because the line's still hooked and I'm not draining all that crap to do that. But it gives you just that very little bit of room if you need it. Also unhooked the little dash right here that Yamaha has on the Raptor. It's just a little clip. Take 2 seconds, don't clip. But yeah, it literally takes nothing to do. Now I will tell you, when it come to taking this off, it was not easy. It did not want to come off, and this bike only has 43 hours on it. Really shouldn't have to be going through this issue, but he did. What I did is I took this bolt out, pulled this shock, let this drop down, this wheel drop down, let the A-arm and stuff so I could pull this shock, and I just took some pliers, big pliers actually. There's orange handle ones right there because I can force it, because the 10mm instantly started stripping around because it's so tight, and that's a soft metal, and it broke loose, and it actually gave me enough room to actually get my hand in there and get bigger or longer turns on the wrench instead of just little like this. So, and plus that only takes a couple seconds to put on and off, back on. It's just a bolt, lines in, and you don't have to fight it. So this is what I do. I'll update you. Just done a few things. Like I was saying, when this is all empty in the other brake line and it comes down to a T, there's your T right there for your right and left brake. Alright, so what I did is I filled up the reservoir right here. So I took it off, take 2 screws off, take these pieces off, and it's no big deal. You can fill this slam full. You're going to need as much as you need because you're going to have to fill it a couple times. So what I did, filled that up, come down here, and I had to reach from up here to down here. I unscrewed this, and I put my finger under the bottom of the line when I pulled it out. Pump it, pump it, pump it. Hold the handle in, remove my finger, air, air, air. Kept doing it, pumping it and holding my finger under it and stuff until fluid came out. Then I held the brake lever, screwed that back in, and now, as you see, I'm in the process of bleeding both sides. So with that being said, this is hard to do in video and get the angles just right, and like I showed you on this, and this works even on the front end of a car and stuff like that. Same concept, just instead of a handbrake you got a foot brake. But so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set y'all up. I'm gonna try to hopefully it gets video of it. Bear with me if it don't. But using my 8mm, I'm gonna squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. I still don't really have much of a brake, so I got air in the line. I'm holding it, squeezing it. Some air came out with that. Pump it. It's getting a little harder, but it's not where it should be. Hold it, release the bowl, push it back. And the reason I'm pumping this is because the air and what fluid came out, I got to replace it before I do this again. So that's why I'm consistently pumping it. And now I'm going to switch to the other side. Hold it. Now the reason I know I'm starting to get brakes is because I can't pull it all the way down without hulking it. But when I got it held and I'm releasing the bleeder brake, the bleeder screw, the handle collapses all the way. That means every time I do this, it's consistently pushing fluid, which is pushing these air bubbles out. And when I get done, I want to take you for a test drive, show you everything works, and I hope this helps y'all out, because if you have disc brakes on the front, same concept. If you have like a older Honda, because I know the newer Hondas went over to disc brakes, the older Hondas and stuff have drums. Same concept, except for you have to take the drum off. There's a star, round star bit, and you have to turn it to bring the pads closer to the drum, and then you bleed it. So when you put the drum on, and I don't have a Honda anymore, or else I'll do another video for that, because I know Hondas are famous. But if you don't adjust the pads and bleed it, oh, I got brakes, but after every ride I gotta go back and re-bleed. You're not adjusting it, it's not going to stay working. A lot of people fail to do this part. So when you put the drum on, you barely turn it till you hear it barely rub, just a hair. Put everything back together, start bleeding, do both sides or all four wheels. So I'm gonna bleed this one more time. There we go. See, now I'm starting to get a hard handle. Do that side, pump it, and now it's feeling way better. It rolls, it stops. It rolls, it stops. Now I know I have brakes. I know I have a good handle. And guys, don't be discouraged if you've never done this before. It's hot in my garage. But don't be discouraged if you've never done this before. It's not that hard. And one thing to remember, you start out with no brakes, so you can't really mess it up and end up, the worst you do is end up with no brakes still. So patience is key, and just take your time. Another thing to remember, when you put these screws back in, do not tighten the heck out of them, or you will strip them out. And then you got to tap them out, drill them out and tap them. Just snug, because you're walking this down. And what happens if you tighten this way down and then you do this one, you're really putting a lot of bite on one side, and it's really going to end up over tightening it. It's just a soft metal. Remember, soft metal, anything with soft metal, easy to strip, especially if it's just a Phillips, it's not a bolt and stuff. But I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I'm going to put this thing back together. I'm going to move all this crap out the way, and I'm going to take it for a test drive, and I'm going to bring y'all along. But drop in the comments if y'all want to keep seeing these videos, if it helps you out, or if there's something precisely you need help with. Hit me up. I got a Facebook group page. I just went live on there while I was working on this, and if it's something that I can help you with, that I have sitting here, especially like somebody wants me to do the sides, remove the sides on the 570, go on there, message me. I'll go live and walk you through it as you do it, to help you out, because you know, not everybody's mechanics, not everybody knows how to do this stuff, and some people get discouraged trying to jump into something, afraid they're gonna mess something up. I can help you out, and if you're local, you're nearby, hit me up. I'll let you come to me, or I can come to you and help you out with whatever you got. I don't mind helping people out. That's what I'm here for. So till next time, y'all enjoy, keep it easy, and be safe out there. talking to a neighbor and it started raining